Is it ever too early to get nerdy about geek news, whiskey news, and entertainment news in general? Starting Monday, Nerd News will move to 5 a.m. Pacific. It will post to both Facebook and YouTube at the same time. It's still every weekday from Monday morning to Friday morning. Too early in the morning for you? It'll be there whenever you wake up then. But we need your comments, shares, and follows for the show to survive.
Welcome to another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. We see some regular faces, so that means that we haven't been too boring. So that's good. Les is Dogger isn't going to be here to pour this week, but Les is going to get us some whiskey in our brand new Nerds Drink Whiskey lowball glasses. If you haven't heard, we have we still have our shot glasses. If you have not gotten a Nerds Drink Whiskey shot glass, get a hold of us. We will get you one. We got them right there. But if you order a drink from the bar, you can get it in a Nerds Drink Whiskey glass. There's no charge for that. That's our gift to you for coming by. But we're going to try something new because Doggers give such generous pours. We're going to do 2 episodes per pour. So basically that whiskey will then be featured for 2 weeks. 1 week for us to review it, another week for us to do a deep dive on some of the nerd news. So the first topic that we're going to discuss, and please, if you have something to say on this topic, let us know. One of us will come down with the mic, and you guys can give your 2 cents or 5 cents on that. We do have our favorite heckler here, so I'm sure she has something to say. So,
I was going to say that I didn't get a shot glass.
Oh, well, we will definitely have to get you. Wait, no, I swear we got you a shot glass.
I had 3.
Okay, I was going to say, don't mess with my head. Don't mess with my head. Do something challenging for a change. Anyways, we have the lowball glasses. We have shot glasses. If you don't have either, the lowball glasses you can get from the bar when you order a drink, and the shot glasses you can just get from us. But the first topic we're going to do for the Nerd News deep dive is how many of you are familiar with what happened recently with director James Gunn? You guys are all familiar with what happened, James Gunn, okay? If you don't know, James Gunn is the director, pretty much the man in charge for the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And he was fired for something he said on Twitter like 10 years ago. So there was an organization who went and scrolled through all of his tweets, all of his social media, found something that was a joke that was a little bit edgy, and he got fired for it. But it was something he did 10 years ago, and he had previously apologized for that, but he got fired for it, and that's our first Nerd News deep dive. For those of you who don't know, Nerd News posts to our Facebook page every morning at every weekday morning at 6 a.m. So that's where we're getting this from. But me personally, I think if we started firing people from jobs for things that they did 10 years ago, I don't think any of us would have jobs. I think we all make mistakes. The fact that he'd apologized for that before that news came out and they fired him. I think it was a little bit aggressive from Disney.
The pedophilia joke was pretty bad, and I feel bad.
The stuff he did was bad, absolutely.
Yeah. And you got to think of Disney is supposed to be the family-oriented corporation, and if they got a director that they hire and he is known for pedophilia jokes, that's not going to sit well.
He wasn't known for that. That was kind of before he got big.
But I went and read several articles on it. I mean, he has multiple actors that want him back. Several actors that have unfriended him on Twitter.
The actor who plays Thor
and Captain America, Chris Hemsley and Chris Evans. Yeah, they both stopped following him. They were upset, but what got me was Chris Pratt actually is defending him.
Pretty much all the main cast of Guardians of the Galaxy has very vigorously defended him. So I don't know. Me personally, I think that, like I said, everyone makes mistakes. He had already did the mistake before this became a thing, and has since denounced that humor, said that it was wrong to do, and that he apologized for it, and was moving forward and trying to be a better person.
Funny jokes. Like, they were horrible. Like, if it was me and made, like, bad jokes like that, they would have been deleted off my feed a long time ago. I will say that Disney, like I said, and they just acquired, they're associated with the Weinstein Company. So they just went through all the stuff with Harvey Weinstein, and they want no whiff of any of that. Yeah. So I think I believe they overreacted, but they're trying to keep themselves as squeaky clean as they can because they don't want to have anything to do with that.
Even Bobcat,
they're not.
Even Bobcat Goldthwait mentioned that it was like, hey, well, maybe you might want to think about firing me too because you're about to announce a new amusement ride, and I'm the voice for it, and hey, I've made really edgy jokes before too, and they don't fit into Disney's nice little profile, so you may want to think of pulling my voice and having somebody else do it. And they're running into that now where people are saying, hey, we all haven't been perfect, so if you're really trying to be that strict, you probably want to fire us all, But I don't know, what's your thoughts?
Well, to be perfectly honest, it's like, okay, he sat there and he kind of made the joke. Yeah, it was, it wasn't exactly in the greatest taste. It was actually pretty disgusting at the time, but it was 10 years ago. Now, some people are sitting there 10 years later and they're trying to, dig up old stuff like that and hold a grudge against this person and try and do anything they can to, knock this person down because he was a little bit edgy and wrong at the time. And now, 10 years later, they're trying to do anything they can to burn him. And it just doesn't make any sense to me because, like you were saying, everybody makes mistakes. Not everybody's going to be the most squeaky clean person on the planet. Even if Disney is trying to set things up to where they're trying to be this big squeaky clean company now, it doesn't really quite work that way when, I swear like a third of the IPs that they have bought out were not exactly the most squeaky clean in the first place either. They're kind of dirty in their own right.
They now own Deadpool, do they not?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. The other part that when you reward behavior, someone went through his feed and looked for dirt that they could dig up on him, they got the response they wanted. And that's not something I want to encourage. Like, there was a game studio recently that they fired their sound guy because they found something on social media about him. They went on a giant hunt against the studio, couldn't find anything on the people that they actually wanted to hurt, happened to find this one guy, and then the studio fired him for, stuff he did off, a while ago. I'm like, well, you're encouraging this behavior, which is not something, I would not want to feed don't feed the trolls. And
don't feed the trolls.
What it is. Basically, I follow Philip DeFranco, and he brought up what we're talking about now.
Now, who is Phil DeFranco?
He's a big YouTuber. His style of news, he presents the news to you.
So he's a pundit?
Yes.
Okay.
Independent. And he presents news, and you form your own opinion. He gives you all the links. Go do your own research, form your own opinion. Now, that's where I first heard about the story about it.
He spins it how he wants, and then tells you to make your own opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, that's punditry, yes.
So, but that's where I discovered it. And I started doing my own research on this and stuff like that. And it's a big thing that's happening now is people, 10, 15 years have said something. And it's coming up and it's starting to hurt people in just not the movie industry, but also corporations and businesses. And, 20 years ago, I wasn't the same person. Even 10 years ago, I wasn't.
There were things that, maybe they weren't in good taste or they weren't things that you should have been saying, but they were very common sayings that nowadays we know that's not agreeing on. Look back 20, 30, 50 years, the things that people used to say and the way they used to talk are not the same. So, and that change is even more rapid these days. So there are things that were, I wouldn't call them politically correct back in the day, but were perfectly normal to say, and we would consider them racial slurs, and that was just how people talked. Yeah. So 10 years ago, a joke that fell on, that spectrum was a lot, further towards the more middle than it is today.
Yeah. So, and we got to allow people to get better. If people realize, hey, this isn't appropriate, I can see how this isn't appropriate now, I'm going to try and be better, we shouldn't punish them for trying to be better. You know, we should allow people to be better and allow people to improve themselves and allow people to move forward. So, anybody have anything to say on that? Anybody? Anybody want to give their 2 cents in? Becca, nothing?
I'm sorry?
Nothing? You have nothing to add?
Well, part of it too.
Hold on. Let me get up there. Hopefully Hopefully this doesn't feed back. Hopefully this will allow me to come out here. Let's see.
So it was a fabulously long time ago, and there is such a heightened awareness of it now too that these comments are not necessarily the greatest. But from my understanding, the joke was also, it was distasteful, but it was also partially self-deprecating. And there's people who make even more lewd comments than that. And it seems ridiculous to take someone who has so much success, who is doing, like, people love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a product that everyone can enjoy, and it's doing good for this world, I think, by educating people. Why punish someone for something that they did 10, 15 years ago when they've already acknowledged and apologized?
All right. Anybody else? No? Okay. Oh, you. Okay. Mark. That's, by the way, a great first name.
I'm partial to it myself. I don't know. I feel a lot of people feel like America's a Christian nation, and I think that should bring along a lot of forgiveness, even if you don't happen to ascribe to that belief. We all make mistakes. We've all been teenagers. If everyone had everything they did as a teenager recorded, then just nobody would be able to do anything. And like one that in particular hit me was not really in nerdy news, was Dave Chappelle recently got in big trouble with the trans community because of a stand-up act he did. I thought it was hilarious. He was respectful while still poking fun, but it wasn't like being harsh. And I don't know, I think a lot of people are kind of forgetting that nature of the First Amendment. Just say what you will, and there may be repercussions, but let people say what they have on their hearts. And sometimes it's a joke, and even if it's a really bad taste, they're just trying to make people laugh. I don't think we should punish people for that.
That's good.
Cool. Well, and if Les is available to bring up some whiskey, I think we're about ready. Did he step outside? Okay. So we're going to come back and we're going to review this next series. Is going to be all about Canadian whiskey, and so we'll be back as soon as we possibly can to celebrate Canada and celebrate all the wonderful things from Canada, and try some Canadian whiskey for the next several weeks. So see you next time on Nerds Drink Whiskey.